Hello, good morning everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Chrissy and today I'm going to be giving you a prediction reading for the 25th of May. Now, firstly, I just want to thank all my beautiful subscribers out there. You know I love hearing from you. We all write to each other and it's just brilliant. We've built this little community and I really love that. So thank you everybody. There's like Shirley, Joyce, Chris, everybody out there, Zach, all you beautiful subscribers. I've got so many. That I do really appreciate all your comments down below, and the fact that you know, pretty much daily watch my videos is a huge deal for me. I've been on YouTube for like 5 years and to just find my little community now feels good to me as well. So I just wanted to really thank you guys for your constant support. And if anyone's new to my channel watching this, just stay watching because there might be a message in here you're meant to receive today. And we'll just get started and see what comes up for the 25th of May. Now they're showing me a car racing track. So they're saying to me that things are really speeding up. Things are really going to start happening really fast now. And I think for all you guys watching my channel, we know this has all been starting to really happen very quickly. As much as we've pushed back and we've held things up and we've pushed back and we've held things up, like I said the other day, they're trying to really push these agendas out now because they want to get this moving before any more people wake up. Now, that's getting pretty obvious, and like a lot of us are starting to realise that they just go from one distraction to the next distraction to the next distraction. And it's like I talked about yesterday with the chaotic movie with all the characters, and there's really no one's fitting together and the storylines don't match and everything's just chaotic. Well, this is what they are giving us. And you know, I talked about, you know, the monkeypox, and we get Russia, Ukraine, and the monkeypox, and now it's the flu in Australia here. They're still really pushing jab your children, and there's just one thing after another. Someone even said, Catherine, I think it was it about, well, the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, like, experience, like, how that's a distraction, and it's been playing out for months. It's been shoved on all our YouTube feeds. It's just like a big event, and that's a circus and a movie just in itself. They'll probably make a movie out of that. I wouldn't be surprised. Starring Johnny Depp, because he's like, oh goodness. But yes, they're distracting us with everything basically. So now they're showing me the racetrack and the cars like going around really fast, like, you know, up to 300 kilometers or whatever an hour, and I don't know what you call it in America, the speed, but this is what they're showing me. Like, they're really trying to speed this up now because they don't want any more people waking up before they have time to implement it. And this is what I'm getting. It's just going faster and faster and faster. The agenda's going to roll out fast now. Oh, and it's also saying that, you know, that the car and the racetrack could also mean about the tracking. So it could also be about, you know, tracking us, and where we're going, what we're doing, how we're eating, what we're what we're spending, and it could also be about tracking the fuel and the carbon footprint. It's a lot about the track, but it's all going to happen really fast. Things are going to be implemented really fast in like all areas now. They're not going to hold back. So be prepared for all this to be sped up now. I'll see what else we get today. Gosh, they're just saying that they're really trying to deceive. Sorry, I've been itching back. They're really trying to deceive people. It's almost like they're showing me pouring concrete over something to like hide it for good. You know, you hear sometimes about some terrible like secretive killing or some plot where a person just disappears and then mysteriously they just disappear, and you see some sort of movie or somewhere they get poured into the concrete, like there's a dead body with like feet sticking up, and then they pour the last bit of the concrete over it. You know, if you want to hide something, that's something like that, the secret agenda. You know, this is what I'm getting. It's like one of those it's one of those experiences where they need to cement it in, and hide things for good. So you think about it, if you cement something in, it's pretty much there for a very, very long time, until such time that someone comes and digs it up and smashes it with a jackhammer or whatever. That's going to be there for a long time. So this is where the elites and the global leaders are at now. They're wanting to cement things. It's like burying things, but it's like burying things for good. Like, if they can just hide all this, they feel like it's almost like if they can hide it all, they're going to have a better foundation. And again, it gets back to the cement, because you usually use a big downpour of cement when you're building a house or a building of some sort. A lot goes into that foundational structure. It can take weeks and months to build a really good foundation. Well, this is kind of what they're doing now. But they're not building the foundation on truth, because there's like a dead body in the cement. Not literally, but that's their information. They're trying to really cement and hide that information from coming out. But, whenever your foundation's not built on a real good quality base, and this is what they're showing me, there's too many lies and deceptions and things hidden in the base of these foundations that they're trying to build their empires on top of. So that's a bit of a twisted analogy today, but this is kind of what I'm getting. It's that if we bury all our secrets, which means like the dead body in the cement, then they'll just disappear and no one will know, and we can just keep building our foundation, and then we can put our elite towers on top of them. So they're still trying to build things. Like, they're still trying to I guess you could say take over the world, but they're trying to build their narrative and strengthen their narrative. But as I said, secrets can be hidden, and like they think they're buried, but they're not buried forever. That they can eventually come out. So they haven't sort of managed to build their new structures. I talked the other week about a lot of their older structures were collapsing, and we were carting off in the wheelbarrows, I think, all the bits of cement and rubble. Well, it's like now they're trying to rebuild and reestablish themselves in a new way, and that's why they're showing me the new foundation, because they're trying to rebuild themselves in a new way. And I guess it comes back to that they think they've already got the power, like they've already done the power grab. So now all they have to do is just roll everything out. And like the race cars, roll it out really quickly, because the quicker they get this out, people will have no say in it, because it's already done and dusted. So that's what I'm definitely getting today. They're trying to speed all this up, and they're trying to rebuild their narrative. These are the elites and the ones in power that I'm talking about, and we know who they are pretty much. Trudeau, Bill Gates, just to name a few. Oh God, Macron, I'm sure, would be one. There's many out there. I'll just see what else we get today. Now they're showing me that the tribes are popping up. So we're still getting these tribes popping up. Now, I know if you're watching my videos, we feel like we're in our tribe over here. I'm still working on the name. I've got a whole list now I'm going to go through with you guys, and we're all going to vote. So look out for that video. I might do it when I'm down with the dogs today. So there's all these tribes popping up. So we're like one tribe. There's other tribes. There's the Waking Up tribe. And then there's all these tribes in between. I talked about the gay community having to come together now with the monkeypox and stand up in their tribe. So there's a lot of tribes. Now, in the beginning of, I remember it was probably the beginning of the year, I talked about the song by Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and it was When True Tribes Go to War, and it was the elites and the ones in power, and it was us. So there were only two tribes. And we were pushing back against these elite leaders. And this is when we were having the protest marches, the Canadian truckers, Australia had marches. I think nearly everyone around the globe had marches. Actually, we all stood up with the truckers. They started that movement in Canada. New Zealand, I'm sure Sweden, Switzerland, all these places stood up and we pushed back against government. But now the visual that the guides are giving me is that this is no longer just two tribes going to war. This is tribes like popping up everywhere, and they're all different. They're of different races. They're of different strengths. They're of different opinions. Is another one. There's many different tribes that are starting to pop up now. There's tribes that want to protect the children. There's tribes who just won't believe the BS anymore, and so they're jumping ship and abandoning the course that they were on. And this is what I said the other day about the fork in the road. They're having to make decisions, and that's why there's so many little tribes that are now starting to pop up. And this is what, and I think this is why government's getting thrown off a lot, and they're having to relook at their narrative, because they realise that too many people are waking up now, and they're getting pushback from a lot of different areas now. It's not just like us. It's not just us pushing and fighting against tyranny and dictatorship now. They've got people standing up against being overjabbed, and like the immune systems are dropping. People who have been, another tribe might be the people who have been vaccine injured. There's another one. There are tribes popping up all over the world because of different reasons. And that is why they're trying to rebuild that narrative. Now, I think for anyone who's, you guys out there that watch my videos, we all know the big Davos World Economic Forum is currently going on at the moment. I'm pretty sure it's still going. And of course, these global leaders all come together and share how they're going to run and manage the world, not only financially, but, climate change, the whole thing. And this is what happens. This comes back to that foundation. They're trying to lay another foundation to, I suppose you could say, to fool people again, because they don't want the pushbacks, because people are waking up. And I keep saying it. People are waking up to the nonsense and the garbage that they're now being like spoon-fed like a little baby. Who's going to fall for that stuff? So that's what I'm definitely getting, is that the tribes are like popping up just everywhere now. They're getting too hard to contain. It's like I talk about the spot fires, trying to put the spot fires out a lot. But it gets to a point where you just can't keep putting them out anymore, because, like I said, they lay dormant in the trees for months, and then they flare up again and start another fire. So this is what's happening. There's been this undercurrent in people. If you think about the tree burning, it's that that anger and heat that's been inside of people, and with the waking up process, it causes all that to rise up. So these people have harbored a lot of anger and resentment for a long time, a lot of these people, especially if they're vaccine injured, for example, and they're gonna have to let that out, or find a community where they can share that experience, because as we know, they get no support. And now we've got all these other new silly, ridiculous things, like I said, that they're spoon feeding us, and hoping that we'll just swallow it. And there's even talk about the pill in the what is it, the microchip in the new pill, so they can track your health and everything. It's just let's spoon feed you everything. It's just getting ridiculous, and it has to become that fork in the road where people start to make a decision of what direction they're going to go. There's always going to be that minority group, and we've already talked about them. We just leave them alone over there. But these tribes are definitely starting to build. And if you think about it, they're kind of part of our blob movement too, moving forward, because we all start to connect and attach, because we don't like the separation. We've never liked it from the start, and we're the original ones that pushed back a lot. I remember talking about that Mel Gibson movie too, Braveheart, where we just sort of forged on and we held our swords up and we pushed against government, and it made a difference. It made a huge difference. So that's the image I'm getting today, is that movie again. I was getting movie. Braveheart. That's where we were in the very beginning when we stood up to government. We charged forth because we had nothing to lose. We were already being vilified and ostracized from society. And now it's not just us that has happened to. This is happening to a lot of different people, and that's why the tribes are now starting to stand. I'll see what else we get today. Now, I often talk about the trains, and I talk about us chugging along, and I talk about the different platforms and how we're all going in different directions. But now I'm getting the visual of like the train tracks. They're not running as you would normally see train tracks. They're showing me some are veering around the corner. They're showing me some are just coming to a dead end. They're showing me some trains could just run off the track into the like gravel and into a ditch. So this is what I'm getting now. There's no... Once upon a time, when I first started talking, so long ago, it's like telling a story, we had very clear train tracks and platforms, and we had to all sort of pick our train and go on it. In the beginning, it started as two trains, and there was the people who were getting jabbed, and then there was us who were sort of fighting back against these things, and we were just going on our trains, and you had to kind of pick a train back then. And then suddenly we got to that point where we all sort of stopped, and we pulled up at the different stations, and then people started to go down different trains again. So they started to go down the double jabbed were forced and coerced, so then they're not going to get boosted. So then we had the booster train that continued on. Then we still had our train that was stopped over here at the station, and we started to get more lines of trains created, and this is what started to happen. It causes these sort of train lines to sort of veer off onto other platforms. But now they're showing me that things are starting to crash around this. I mean, we're still here at the platform at I'd say Wilson's platform. But everybody else is trying to figure this out now. So, you know, you've got some trains that have stopped back here because they're not getting any more jabs. You've got other people who have stopped back at this platform, for example, who might have been vaccine injured, so they're certainly not going to continue on that path. Then you've got the people who have continued on the booster path, and they're going along and believing everything that's said. But suddenly their train's even starting to veer off. So even those people who have been still continuing in the narrative and the mass psychosis or whatever they have, their train lines are now starting to go in all different directions. Like I said, one's veering around the corner and it's taking off really fast, and the other one's kind of hitting the gravel and crashing in the dirt, and the other one's turning. So don't think just because they're going on that smoother path and moving forward in the narrative and believing everything and still wearing their masks and everything, that everything's smooth and dandy for them, because it's not. Because they're the ones that are getting hit by all the lies and deception. But it's still not enough. Like, you know, go and get your kid's flu jabbed, but then your kid still gets the flu. So your train veers off. You know, you've had your COVID, I won't say it, your C jabs, and then you double boosted, and then your train veers off this way and you get the C virus. So this is why their trains aren't staying on the track either. And this is what happens. This is what happens. People start to go, but I'm supposed to be like all boosted. Why am I still getting these things? And, you know, for a while they did use the old, I won't go to hospital and all this, I won't bank up the hospitals and we won't make our relatives sick. You know, this is an example. But then they're starting to see that the people who are still back at this platform aren't the ones with the ailments and aren't the people that are getting sick. You can't tell me that people aren't seeing. They expected us to be drop dead on the floor, and that they were told we were taking up all the hospitals, but the reality is they've veered down this track, and they're the ones that are actually starting to get really sick all the time. Their immune systems are dropping, and we know that. I know if you watch my videos that you know that. So these are the things that they're starting to, they're not starting to see where exactly they're going. This is causing them a lot of confusion, and this is the people who are, like I say, in that mass psychosis. They've still got a lot of confusion around a lot of this because they don't know where they're being taken. You know, they think they're on this smooth train track just moving forward, and they're helping everybody and doing all this wonderful stuff, but now it's not starting to be the case. Things are starting to crash. things are starting to be halted. They're veering off their path and they keep getting sick. They were jabbed to not get sick. You've got to remember that these things are starting to become visibly obvious now. Even for people in the mass psychosis, they would have to be starting to see that something's not right. And this comes back to their gut feelings. I know the people who are waking up are really starting to see it. It's starting to really unfold for them quite clearly now. That, you know, I'd even say that last veil that I talked about the other day, that last veil has probably lifted off. They're not wearing their crystal glasses like we are and seeing things with that clarity, but they're starting to really figure this out. Now, the other day I did talk about the Crime Investigation Board, and it's almost like they've had to bring in more detectives to try and solve this big case that they're trying to solve, because that means bringing in more detectives means they're doing more detective work, and that means that they're starting to search. They're wondering, who is Klaus Schwab? What is the Quad meeting? You know, that's something that our new Prime Minister just flew straight over to a big Quad meeting. I don't even know where it was. Anyways, with leaders from India, Japan, and Tokyo. Oh yeah, no, it's in Tokyo, sorry. And you think, well, what's Quad? Is that a new thing? Is that something else that we need to know about? People are questioning this stuff because there's these new narratives. Like I said, they're building their new narratives, their new buildings, and they've got to get things hidden. If we don't focus on the World Economic Forum, then we focus on Quad and being all, positive. I don't even know what Quad is. I'm sure you guys don't know what that is either. It's just some sort of new fandangled meeting that the elites have to have. And of course, they're flying around in their big jets. They've got their big cars using all, burning off all their fuel. Where's all the logic? So I feel like we're going to be getting these new narratives, and that's what it comes back to, is they're creating a new illusion for people to see. But trust, these people waking up are doing their detective work. They've brought in more detectives and they're doing more work and searching for truths now. And like I said, even the people who have been in mass psychosis are starting to feel unsettled, because like I said, their train isn't just moving forward on that smooth journey before. And also I think too, they're probably not getting their egos fed as much as they were. Gosh, here in Australia, and I know it would be happening in Canada, they're not doing it as much now, but they were constantly feeding their egos and telling them that because Australia got vaccinated, we're able to get our lives back and our freedom back because you did the right thing. This was constant. They were constantly being fed, and their egos were being driven. But remember, the awakening process is about the breaking down of the ego. But when that ego was being fed, say maybe 6 months, a year ago, they just constantly felt uplifted by government. And this is the sort of stuff that's, it's not as obvious now. The government's not really feeding that, because the government and parliamentary leaders, as we know, or any leaders, are now trying to implement everything really, really fast, and it's happening. And they're not going to put the brakes on with this. It's showing me the car just going around and around, as in Formula One or just the V8s, any sort of car, even a little drag car going around, you know how fast they go. That's what they're showing me. This is just going on an endless loop, and they do not want to put the brakes on. And it's funny because there's no one cheering in the crowd. I don't see in the visual any people there cheering them on. There's nobody there. It's just the cars going around, and there's no audience because no one wants to cheer them on. I'm sure that, oh my God. So they're on their own doing this now, trying to implement this Speedy Gonzales as fast as they can. So be ready for it. I feel like there's going to be a lot rolling out. I'll see if there's any last messages today. The guides are saying to me, we need to treat our life like a health retreat. We need to really look after ourselves now in this time of total insanity. We need to really, they're showing me having a beautiful bath, having the candles lit, having your little bath soak flowers floating or whatever. They're showing me out again, sitting on that rock, meditating, just calming the mind. These are the things we have to do. We have to treat ourselves like we're in a health retreat. And if that means that you stay behind that fence and you do all the things that nurture you, it doesn't matter what you're doing. But as long as you're nurturing yourself, again, this is a time, because of this sped up energy, it can sort of, it's almost saying like it can be like a vacuum and kind of suck you in as well. And then you start going around and around because you start to rehash things and you start to get worried. And they're saying to you that not to do that, just to step back and, or, you know, I always talk about protecting yourself, but to really step back and stay in that calm energy and give yourself that really good peace of mind. And again, you know, that comes back to watching the show, I guess, on the big screen as the show moves along. You know, just stay out of the show. We're not in the show anymore. We are way out of that show. And so it's very important that we take that time out. And we always do, like, you know, how people go to a health retreat for a few weeks and they recoup their energy and they cleanse their body and they detox, or they do whatever they do. This is what the message is from the guides, that in those sort of next few weeks, there is a lot happening, and it's very important that we really nourish ourselves as a human being. Because, like I said, it's very easy to get triggered or to get caught up in that narrative of other people waking up, as well as the crap that's about to be rolled out before our very eyes. And I think it's going to be really shocking to many. People are going to be really shocked. And I think they're going to actually be quite horrified at why they weren't told the truths. Oh, it is quite horrifying, isn't it? Like I said, it is like a really bad movie. And, God, the guides are actually showing me, like, these people who have been, not us, but these people who have been asleep and that are now, like, waking up. It's showing like a zombie movie. So it's showing like they're waking up from their coma. And now it's like the people who are in the mass psychosis still are like zombies, and they're still kind of coming towards them. So it's that kind of energy where now the people who are waking up are kind of running and freaking out as the zombies come towards them. And look, this could be almost literally, because it's weird, isn't it? And I don't know if you guys experience this, but sometimes you'll see people with the mask on and it just makes you feel weird. Like they're walking around like zombie. They really are like zombies, and they come towards you and you just want to say to them, take your mask off. What are you doing? And you can't. And they're just like, it's like there's nobody home sometimes, because they're so still caught up in it. But now, these people that I talk about that are waking up, they're starting to run from a lot of this as well. Like, they're starting to really question and do that detective work. And they're seeing people coming towards them, you know, like zombies just falling for all of this. So it's a waking up process, but it is starting to, I tell you, really wake them up. So I'm going to leave you with that today. This is still happening. Things are still moving. People are still waking. But, of course, we know that government and politicians and all that are still trying to rebuild the new narrative. No surprises there. We don't get shocked by any of that at all, do we? Anyway, have a wonderful day, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye for now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like buttons. And also hit the bell notification, because then you know when I pop up. Check out my self-help videos. I've got tons on there that can help you around many subjects. And have a wonderful day, and I'll say goodbye from Australia. Bye, everybody. Look out for my video about the vote for our new world that we're going to call it. I'm going to do that today. Bye.